On the news, ECOWAS Parliament concludes 2026 ordinary session with recommendations to strengthen child protection and democratic stability in the sub-region. Young Leaders Assembly exposed children to civic leadership and democratic engagement during visit to National Assembly. Plus, National Assembly leadership condemns attack on schools and innocent children, call for urgent security measures nationwide. Welcome to the news on NTA Parliament, reaching you from Abuja. I am Abubakar Galadima. Thanks for joining us. The 2026 ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament has ended in Abuja with far-reaching recommendations aimed at strengthening children's protection and democratic stability across the sub-region. ECOWAS Parliament correspondent Mohammed Rabiu Ali reports.
Thousands of children across West Africa are roaming the streets, exposed to violence and sexual abuse that resulted in their vulnerability. At the end of the session, the Parliament adopted some resolutions urging member states to take preventive and coordinated actions to protect street children and end child exploitation. In the same vein, the Parliament adopts resolution to end escalating terrorism in sub-region, citing Mali April 25th multiple terrorist attacks which claimed the lives of Defense Minister General Sadio Kamara, his family members, among other security threats.
In the context of finalizing these draft pacts, we called upon the ECOWAS Commission to take into account our recommendation, particularly with regards to enhancing the powers of our parliament, enhancing democratic oversight, and promoting citizen participation.
The resolution also condemns the destabilizing impact of terrorism in the Sahel and the West Africa region, undermining democratic governance, economic development, and regional integration. Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament is mandated to transmit the document and the report of the Joint Committee to the President of the ECOWAS Commission for onward submission to the Chairman of the Council of Ministers. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas says the people of Zaria Federal Constituency should expect more democratic dividends through continued representation and development initiatives. He stated this after receiving endorsement from party stakeholders in Zaria Federal Constituency. Haruna Mohammed reports.
The affirmation marks the beginning of his candidacy for the Zaria constituency under the platform of the All Progressive Congress as delegates gather to either vote or affirm the party's candidates. Tajuddin Abbas from Korbai B Ward in Zaria was endorsed by more than 1,300 APC members from the 13 wards of the Zaria Federal Constituency as their candidate for the 5th consecutive time in the next general election.
Special grace of God, this is the beginning of his leadership career. What I have in mind for him, I will tell you here, I'll tell you later.
The Speaker of the 10th National Assembly, who emerged unopposed, thanked the constituents for the trust and assured them of adequate representation if elected.
You lead well, you lead with integrity and with transparency. People will follow you wherever you go. People will support you whenever you call on them. This is one example of what the people of Zaria have done for the 5th time.
The Speaker is the first member of the National Assembly from Kaduna State to serve a 4th term in office. Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
The Young Leaders Assembly, a non-governmental organization, is exposing bright young Nigerians to civic responsibility and leadership experience through a visit to the National Assembly in commemoration of the Children's Day 2026. National Assembly correspondent Joshua Ogunjide reports that the initiative underscores the belief that leadership development should begin early in life. The reports.
Nations become great when they intentionally raise citizens who understand the value of democracy, justice, accountability, innovation, unity, and service. That's why I expose the children to the workings of the National Assembly Library and digitalized Public Account Committee hearing room of the House.
The major function of National Assembly is to make laws. That is our primary assignment here. And the second one is representation. Representation in the sense that all of you, I'm sure you must have come from different states and constituencies. Here, as you are, you must have somebody representing you here, no matter how remote your village or town is.
This is why the Young Leaders Assembly was created to bridge a gap observed across the nation, as many young people grow up hearing about government but never understand it. They hear about leadership but rarely experience mentorship.
As part of this journey, we are also proud to launch the Civil Education Book, which is Nigeria and the Future of Me, which will be launched tomorrow at the grand finale. A book that is designed to help young Nigerians understand governance, leadership, civic responsibility, and nation building in a way that is relatable, inspiring, and transformational. Because we believe that if we can shape the mindset of a child, we can shape the future of a nation.
Okay, I've learned everything, mostly everything about Nigeria in one day. I would like to thank you for that.
This whole program has been an exciting one for me. Like being able to learn about the different chambers of the different chambers of the House of Assembly, the senators and National Assembly. It's been amazing how they operate and their main function to the governance of Nigeria.
The delegates aged 8 to 18 years are selected from secondary schools and IDP camps to inspire their minds, educate them for citizenship, empower them as future leaders, and engage them to build a formidable nation, Nigeria. From the National Assembly, Joshua Ogunjide, NT News.
One question many Nigerians continue to ask is how well has representative democracy worked in the country? From the evolution of the Electoral Act to voter rights and civic participation, National Assembly correspondent Joshua Ogunjide in this special report examines what the law says, what history reveals, and where the gap remains. Let's get into it.
Democracy in real terms means a system where citizens either participate directly or elect representatives to govern on their behalf. The principle is simple. Government authority comes from the will of the people. In a country of over 220 million people like Nigeria, direct rule isn't practical. That's where representative democracy comes in. Under representative democracy, citizens can vote for people to speak and make decisions for them in the national and state assemblies. Nigeria has practiced this since 1999 under a presidential system where a president, governors, and legislators are being elected every 4 years. Constitutionally, they are accountable to the citizenry. In practice, progress has been witnessed since the return to civilian rule, but challenges like party godfatherism and weak accountability that limit how well representatives reflect the people's will manifests. At independence in 1960, Nigeria adopted the British parliamentary system. The Prime Minister and Cabinet came from Parliament, and it worked for 6 years. But ethnic tensions and regional rivalries made it unstable, leading to the 1966 coup. After years of military rule, Nigeria switched to a US-styled presidential system in 1979. The idea was to separate powers, strengthen checks and balances, and better manage diversity. That system, with amendment, is what runs today.
It is only the representative, the parliament, that signify the fact that we are in a democratic rule. Because under the military, you have the executive, you have the judiciary. The only thing that is lacking is a representative democracy. That is the parliament, National Assembly, and the state, as it may affect the state.
The legal framework for elections is the Electoral Act 2026, which replaced the 2022 and 2010 Act respectively and introduced major changes alongside bottlenecks such as INEC's financial autonomy, technology, and timeliness.
For the side of the Commission, we try our best to ensure whatever we have set out as enshrined in the electoral framework, we do. But most times, the only challenge we have is with other stakeholders trying to keep up with the provisions of these laws. So that's why you see from time to time, there's always either the amendment or the reenactment of an electoral law in order to cover up loopholes.
As for universal suffrage, every adult citizen has the right to vote, regardless of gender, ethnicity, or status. In Nigeria, this is guaranteed by Section 77 of the 1999 Constitution, mandating all citizens of age 18 and above to register and vote.
For you to be able to participate, you must have, have these qualifications. But then you need to present yourself before the registration officer for you to be registered. And it must be registered in a particular unit that is close to you, or probably you're a resident there, or probably that is the place you'll be during the elections. And for you to also show that you're qualified, the registration officer will also probably, if you are a young voter to be, they'll demand for your birth certificate for them to be sure you are of age, your passport, and I think those are some of the criteria.
INEX 2023 continuous voter registration added 1.6 million new voters, but challenges persist. Many rural polling units remain inaccessible. Women make up 49% of the population but hold only 4% of seats in the National Assembly, while violence, vote buying, and intimidation still undermine free voting in parts of the country.
But when you look at the numbers, you see that it's usually below 30% in terms of participation by voters.
Do Nigerians understand their role? Well, the Constitution gives the citizenry rights to vote, to run for office, to form parties, and to challenge irregularities. INEC is legally bound to educate voters on these rights.
We have a lot of people in the rural areas that don't even know we have electoral act or we have constitution. All they know is that there is a government over them and that's all. So there is a greater need for the government, INEC, National Orientation Agency and all relevant stakeholders, especially also the political parties, to carry out massive voter sensitization, voters engagement, so that people will get to know their rights and that they are the ones that are supposed to determine who leads them.
Awareness is growing, but low turnout in recent elections shows mistrust remains. Many citizens don't know they can demand PVC collection, challenge the voter register, or even initiate a call of non-performing representatives. So where does this leave us? Nigeria has the legal and constitutional framework for representative democracy. The Electoral Act 2026 as amended was a step forward, but laws alone don't make democracy work. It takes active citizens, accountable representatives and institutions that enforce the rules. As we look toward off-cycle polls and the 2027 general elections, the question is not just what the law says, but whether we as citizens will make use of it as our compass. Joshua Oguchide.
Joining us on the news to further discuss the topic, citizens in the electoral process, representative democracy, the Nigerian model, is former member of the House of Representatives, Representative Kende Odeneye. He represented Ijebu-Ode, Odugbolu Ijebu, Northeast Federal Constituency of Ogun State in the 7th and 8th Assemblies. You are welcome to Parliamentary News on NTA. From a historical perspective, what factors influenced Nigeria's transition from the parliamentary system to the presidential system of representative democracy?
Let me say this, that yes, we have tried the parliamentary system of government, which we borrowed from the UK, and before we transited to the presidential system, which is being practiced in the United States and some other countries, advanced countries. And I think the presidential system has given more rules for what I would call a representative government, where a lot of people have been given opportunities to be involved in the process of governance in Nigeria. And at the same time, because of our peculiarities, that's why I feel, or I think, that our fathers then, political fathers then, decided that the parliamentary system was not good enough for Nigeria, and it won't be able to really deliver the kind of governance systems that should be applicable to Nigeria, and that is why the transition to presidential system of government. And if you look at presidential system of government, I call it a representative government because, a lot of people are on board. We have the bicameral system of legislature, and which gives opportunities for every Nigerian to be represented at the National Assembly. And we also have an executive arm of government that has ministers that represent all the states of the federation unlike what we had under the parliamentary system of government. So I feel that our political fathers, the fathers of Nigeria, must have seen the benefits and advantages that of presidential system of government that outweigh that of the parliamentary system before they opted for the presidential. And as I have said, and as I will always say, I feel that the presidential system of government is more representative than that of parliamentary system of government. And that is why we are witnessing the kind of developments, political developments, and even economic development we are witnessing in Nigeria today.
The Electoral Act has undergone several amendments over the years. How effective has it been in strengthening representative democracy in Nigeria?
You see, there's no law that can take care of every situation at all times. And that is the reasons why reviews are made every time. Because what happened today may not happen tomorrow. Or what is going to happen tomorrow may be far, far serious more than what is happening today. And that gives constant review. And that's why the Electoral Act is being reviewed every time. And so meaning that in 2023, for instance, there could have been some issues that happened. We'll expect that by 2027 general elections, with the amendment in the Electoral Act, some of those issues that happened in 2023, I do not think, they should occur again, or the revised Electoral Act should have taken care of those lapses in the 2023 election. So definitely, even when the Electoral Act may not be able to take care of all issues that may arise in a particular election cycle, I want to believe that the effectiveness of the Electoral Act can always be measured by the deliverables of the Independent Electoral Commission at every election cycle.
Can you explain what universal suffrage entails in a representative democracy and why citizens must understand their constitutional role in the electoral process?
However, the electorates, we need constant education for the electorates, not just understanding the Electoral Act alone, but also for them to know their rights, also for them to know when and what to do at what particular time in an election cycle. So this constant education, I have to put that back to both the political gladiators and also our media houses, both the radio and the TV, and also other media outfits. They must continuously educate Nigerians about the provisions of the Electoral Act and also their rights as provided for in the Electoral Act, and what they're supposed to do in every election cycle. So this cannot be done just once alone. As review are being made into the Electoral Act, we also need to continuously educate our people so that they will know what they should do at every election cycle.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us on NTA Parliament, Representative Odeneye.
Thank you very much.
It's time for a break. We will be back with more reports. Stay with us. You are watching the news on NTA Parliament. Welcome back and thanks for being there. The Senate has condemned the abduction of students and teachers in parts of Borno and Oyo states, describing the attack as assaults on Nigeria's future. Senate Leader Opeyemi Bamidele in a statement said reports of attack on schools in Orire local government area of Oyo State, as well as Askira Uba local government area of Borno State, underscores the urgent need for enhanced security architecture, including ongoing constitutional efforts towards state policing. As an immediate measure, the Senate leader called for full implementation of the Safe Schools initiative to protect students and address the challenges of out-of-school children. He added that upon resumption on June 2nd, the National Assembly will continue deliberations on the State Police Bill and propose amendments to the Terrorism Act aimed at strengthening penalties for violent crimes. Similarly, Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas has called for a careful, timely and professional rescue operation for students and teachers abducted from schools in Oyo State. In a statement, the Speaker strongly condemned the attacks, noting that the incident occurred at a time Nigeria is already grappling with a growing out-of-school children crisis. While acknowledging the efforts of the security agencies, including the Inspector General of Police and deployed personnel, the Speaker stressed that the safety of the victims must remain paramount and that perpetrators must face the full weight of the law. In a related development, the Northern Senators Forum also condemned the abduction of students in Askira Uba local government area of Borno State. A statement signed by the chairman of the forum, Senator Abdulaziz Musa Yaradua, described the attack on school children as unacceptable and a direct assault on the rights to education and the future of northern Nigeria. The forum called on the federal government and the security agencies to intensify rescue operations and ensure the safe and unconditional release of the children abducted. The Kano State House of Assembly has called on the state government to constitute a committee through the Ministry of Justice to investigate the recent clash between security personnel and residents of communities in Wudil local government area, which reportedly led to destruction of properties worth millions of naira. The resolution followed recommendations presented by a joint committee set up to investigate the incidents. Samira Hamis Ushira reports on this and other legislative activities by the lawmakers.
On Tuesday, the 7th of April 2026, Representative Ali Abdullahi, manager of Wudil constituency, presented a motion of urgent public importance on a clash between security personnel and communities of Katai, Faudan and Jammaganawa in Wudil local government area, seeking the Assembly's swift intervention. The House Standing Committees on Humanitarian Affairs and Chieftaincy were mandated to visit the affected communities and report back. While presenting the report, Representative Salisu Ibrahim Muhammad called for swift intervention by state government and the need to assist the affected communities.
That the House calls for the suspension of Abubakar Isiaq, village head of the Ward in Ukura local government, and Adoba village head of Dususu in Ukura local government until the outcome of the investigation.
In as much as issue rise around security to act very well, act immediately. We need to establish a steady or working relationship between the traditional institution and the policemen. If somebody need to be arrested in a particular village, let them go to the traditional institution. So that village head or the ward head will be able to know who is coming to arrange this by man that is under my constituency.
In another development, the House Committee on Agriculture also presented its findings on the outbreak of tuta absoluta in some parts of Magway and Shanona local government areas, suggesting intervention to affected farmers with approved insecticides, rum traps, sprayers, among others.
That the House should call on the state government to strengthen state-owned agricultural research institutions and continuously collaborate with those owned by the federal and other NGOs in providing technical support to the farmers.
The House has been adjourned to Monday, the 29th of June 2026. From the Kano State House of Assembly, Samira Hamis Ishara, NTA News.
That concludes the news on NTA Parliament. You can follow us on our social media platforms displayed on your screen for more updates and other programs. Thanks for your time. I am Abubakar Galadima.